Now, I'm not going to go into detail about these because they can be used for many other purposes besides warfare, but some of these do have lethal capabilities. I think it goes without saying that all of these should be handled by professionals and civilians should stay away from them. Let's start with the most destructive one, the nuclear bomb. I don't think I need to say much here because we all know how devastating a nuclear weapon is. They're everywhere these days, and they come in all shapes and sizes. They're controlled remotely by human operators, or they can fly autonomously using pre-programmed flight paths. But as they become more widespread, it's important that we do this sooner rather than later. It's not a simple task, and will require cooperation from all countries and international organizations involved in the development and use of UAVs, and it won't be easy to do. But it's essential if we want to prevent these technologies from being used in a way that could cause harm to innocent people or escalate conflicts into full-blown wars. UAVs are used for all kinds of purposes, from taking aerial photographs to crop dusting and even smuggling drugs. Maybe there will always be some level of warfare and violence in our world, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. Also, check out this playlist with other videos about new technologies that I've already made. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. After all, humans are inherently selfish and greedy, and we will always find ways to exploit new technologies for our own benefit. Maybe I'm just kidding myself thinking that we can create a world without war, because deep down I know it will never happen. But that doesn't mean I won't keep trying, because if we don't try to make the world a better place, who will? And if we don't fight for peace, what are we fighting for? But did you know that they can also be used for warfare? Right. Some countries are developing armed UAVs that can carry explosives or other munitions and be used to attack enemy targets. In fact, armed UAVs have already been used in several conflicts, including in Syria, Libya, and Yemen. The problem with armed UAVs is that they raise a number of ethical and legal questions. For example, who's responsible if an armed UAV causes civilian casualties? And what happens if an armed UAV is hacked by a terrorist group? To stop this, we need to develop some kind of international framework to govern the use of armed UAVs in warfare. This framework should include rules and regulations to ensure that they are reused safely and responsibly, and that they don't violate international law. We also need to develop new technologies to help mitigate the risks associated with armed UAVs. For example, we could develop ways to better detect and track them, or even develop methods to disable them electronically without causing physical damage. There's the DJI Mavic Mini, which you can buy for $400, that can shoot 4K video, or the Parrot. Annapurna, which costs $2,300 and has a built-in loudspeaker. But did you know that there's also military drones that cost millions of dollars? Take, for example, the General Atomics MQ-9 Reaper, which costs $20 million per unit and can carry Hellfire missiles. Yeah, these things aren't toys. They're real-life weapons of war, and they've been used in various conflicts around the world, including in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. If we want to stop this, we need to find a way to counter the use of drones in warfare. That might mean developing new technologies to detect and intercept them, or it could involve coming up with new international laws and regulations to govern their use. In World War II, there were 62 days between the first and second atomic bombs dropped in Japan. But since then, well over 17,000 nuclear weapons have been produced. How could we possibly stop this? Well, the main thing would be to prevent the acquisition of fissile material such as plutonium and enriched uranium. It's not an easy task, because it's used in both civilian and military nuclear programs. The entire nuclear non-proliferation regime is based on trust and confidence-building measures, and it is an incredibly complicated system involving multiple international organizations and treaties. A lot can go wrong, and people do get caught up in lies and misinformation. Take, for example, the case of Abdul Qadir Khan, the man considered to be the father of Pakistan's nuclear bomb, who sold nuclear secrets to Iran and North Korea. Or look at the AQ network, which proliferated nuclear weapons technology across the world. Now that's just two examples out of many, and I'll go into more detail in a future video. But what it shows is that the spread of nuclear weapons isn't something that you can simply prevent with one single policy or measure. It requires a comprehensive approach and a long-term commitment. Now let's talk about modern aircraft. They are so advanced now that they can deliver their payload without even being detected until they rewrite on top of their target. Think about it. Stealth aircraft like the B-2 Spirit or the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter are designed to evade detection by radar systems, and they are able to fly at very high speeds and altitudes. This means that a country could potentially launch an airstrike without giving its enemies any warning. Well, and then there is autonomous drones, which can be programmed to follow a specific flight path and deliver their payload without needing a human operator. You can see where this is going. Unmanned aerial vehicles are becoming more and more sophisticated. Some of them are big enough to carry a small arsenal of precision-guided munitions, and they can fly for hours on end without getting tired. The U.S. military has recently developed the Loyal Wingman, which is designed to follow fighter jets and provide air support. So if we wanted to stop this, we would need to develop some kind of technology that could detect stealth aircraft and drones. We would also need to find a way to protect our own Air Force from detection and attack. And speaking of drones, let's talk about them. And finally, let's talk about UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles. These are essentially planes without pilots. The bottom line is that UAVs are a relatively new technology, and we are still figuring out how to best regulate and control them. But hey, maybe I'm just a naive idealist and all of this is just a pipe dream. If you like this video, please subscribe because I am planning to make more videos about new technologies that are being developed and what they mean for the future of humanity.